In a forgotten corner of the wild American West, where towering red rock mountains clawed at the azure sky, and rivers wound through ancient lands, carrying whispers of legend, there lived a tale of salvation and love that defied all prejudice. This wasn't merely a story of gunfights or daring adventures. It was a journey to discover one's true worth in a world often brutally unforgiving. Ilara was a name that once echoed through the lavish ballrooms of the Eastern aristocracy, but now it was little more than a heavy sigh. She wasn't the slender, graceful debutante her peers were. Ilara's figure was plump, her cheeks full, and her eyes often held a perpetual sorrow, making her a source of profound shame in the eyes of her father, Lord Caldwell, a cold, unyielding man who valued only reputation and superficial beauty. Lord Caldwell had tried to marry Ilara off to countless wealthy gentlemen, but all had turned away. He couldn't bear this failure any longer. One twilight evening, as the setting sun painted the grand drawing room in hues of deep amber, Lord Caldwell looked at Ilara with an icy gaze, as if she were a worthless object. "You have disgraced our family, Ilara," he declared, his voice devoid of emotion. "I have found a solution. You will go west to the Wolf clan. They require an exchange to settle a land dispute. You will be that exchange." Ilara heard him, and her heart felt as though it had stopped. The West. The Wolf clan. She'd heard terrifying tales of wild natives, of the brutal existence on the frontier. A wave of profound fear washed over her, yet deeper still was the sting of betrayal. Her father, who should have loved and protected her, viewed her as mere merchandise, a burden to be cast aside. Tears streamed down her face, but she uttered not a single word. She knew that in her father's eyes, she possessed no value left to protest with. The journey west was an ordeal. Ilara sat in the jolting wagon, feeling every rough impact of the wheels on the uneven trail. Red dust clung to her hair, her clothes, and even filled her lungs with every breath. Her guide was a Wolf clan warrior named Kale, a tall man with a chiseled face and eyes as deep as the night sky. He spoke little, only occasionally, glancing at her with an inscrutable gaze. Ilara felt small and vulnerable before his quiet authority. She remembered her father's words that the natives were savage, barbaric. Her fear grew with every passing mile. The first days in this new land were a relentless chain of despair. Ilara yearned for her warm room, the sumptuous meals, the silk gowns. Now she faced blistering heat by day and bone-chilling cold by night. Food was sparse. Clothes were rough. She felt like a caged bird now thrown into a wild forest. Each night she curled beneath a thin blanket, tears soaking her pillow, wondering if this was to be the end of her life. Kyle spoke little, but he observed Ilara constantly. He saw the terror in her eyes, yet also a flicker of resilience hidden deep within. He did not treat her as a prisoner or a mere commodity, but as a bewildered guest in need of guidance. Kale led Ilara to meet his grandmother, an elder woman named Lyra, whose hair was as white as snow, and whose eyes held the gentle warmth of moonlight. Lyra greeted Ilara with a tender smile. She asked few questions, simply handing Ilara a warm bowl of stew and a thicker blanket. "The path has been long and weary, child," Lyra said in broken English, yet her voice was filled with kindness. "Rest now. Here you will be safe." Lyra's unexpected warmth astonished Ilara. She had braced herself for hostility, for judging stares, but instead found unconditional acceptance. Slowly, Ilara began to observe the life of the Wolf clan. They lived simply in harmony with nature, yet they were far from the savages her father had described. They had rituals, stories, songs. They respected the land, the rivers, and all living things. Each person had their role, and everyone was valued. Ilara began to learn how to adapt. She was clumsy trying to start a fire. She spilled water. When attempting to fetch it from the stream, she didn't know how to gather wild berries. She felt ashamed of her inadequacy, but no one mocked her. Kale patiently guided her. Lyra gently encouraged. "Every step is a lesson, my child," Lyra would say. "Do not fear to stumble." One day, as Ilara struggled to wash clothes by the stream, Kale approached. He said nothing, simply stooped to pick up a small stone, sharpened it against a larger rock, and handed it to her. "Use this to scrub," he said, his voice a low rumble. Ilara followed his instruction, and the clothes came out noticeably cleaner. She looked up at him, a small smile gracing her lips. It was the first time she felt a flicker of connection with him, a hint of gratitude. Kale began to teach Ilara about medicinal plants, how to read animal tracks, how to listen to the whispers of the forest. He never forced her. He simply shared his knowledge. Ilara, with her innate intelligence, gradually absorbed it all. She began to feel her body grow stronger, her mind clearer. She was no longer the weak Ilara prone to tears. She was a part of the wolf clan, albeit a fledgling one. As time passed, Ilara was no longer the plump, helpless woman her father had cast aside. She still retained her rounded figure, but now it was the fullness of vitality, of robust health. She could walk long distances, carry water, and assist the other women of the clan. More importantly, she had found her confidence. She no longer viewed herself through her father's condemning gaze, but through the accepting eyes of the wolf clan. One evening, as the full moon hung serenely in the night sky, Ilara sat by the fire, listening to Lyra tell an ancient tale. Kale sat across from her, his gaze lingering on her face. He saw the peace, the radiance she had never possessed before. When the story concluded, Kale led Ilara away from the village to a small hill overlooking the valley. "Ilara," Kale began, his voice deeper and softer than she had ever heard it. "When your father brought you here, he called you a burden, a punishment. But I saw no such thing." He turned to face her, his deep eyes reflecting the moonlight. "I saw a strong spirit trapped. I saw a kind heart wounded. I saw a woman capable of rising no matter how much she had been trampled." Ilara's heart pounded. She had never imagined Kale held such thoughts of her. "What did you see in me, Kale?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I saw beauty," Kale replied, stepping closer. "Not the outward beauty your world defines, but the beauty of resilience, of kindness, of authenticity. I saw a woman perfect in her own way." He reached out and gently touched her cheek. "I love you, Ilara. I love the woman you are and the woman you have become." Tears streamed from Ilara's eyes, but these were tears of joy, of liberation. She had never been seen or loved so truly, so unconditionally by anyone before. She embraced Kale, feeling the warmth of his body, the steadfastness of his love. "I love you too, Kale," she whispered. "You have given me a new life." Months later, as Ilara and Kale prepared for their life together, a company of mounted soldiers appeared on the edge of the Wolf Clan village. Leading them was Lord Caldwell, Ilara's father. He had heard rumors that his daughter was alive and living like a savage. He had come to rescue her, though his true intention was to force her return and marry her off to a wealthy count, to bolster his family's prestige. Lord Caldwell looked at Ilara, now dressed in the attire of the Wolf Clan, her hair neatly braided, her eyes filled with newfound confidence. He didn't recognize her. "Where is the girl?" he roared. "My daughter, Ilara." Ilara stepped forward, facing her father. "I am here, father," she said, her voice calm but resolute. "I am no longer the Ilara you once knew. I am Lyra, the name Kale's grandmother gave me, meaning guiding moonlight. Lord Caldwell was stunned. Nonsense. You've been brainwashed by these savages. You are to return at once. No, Father, Ilara replied. I will not return. I have found family love and purpose here. You cast me aside, but these people embraced me. I have found the respect you never gave me. Lord Caldwell's face flushed with fury. He drew his pistol and aimed it directly at Cale. You have bewitched my daughter. You will pay for this. The moment he squeezed the trigger, another Wolf Clan warrior, Cale's own brother, lunged forward, shielding his leader. The bullet struck him in the shoulder. A cry rang out. Cale rushed to his brother's side, his eyes burning with righteous anger. The Wolf Clan warriors immediately surrounded Lord Caldwell and his soldiers. Cale, though pained by his brother's injury, maintained his composure. He looked at Ilara's father with a steely gaze. You have violated the laws of this land, Cale stated. You have attacked my people. Lord Caldwell was disarmed and taken into custody. He couldn't comprehend that his daughter had dared to defy him, or that these savages could wield such authority. Ilara stood by Cale, her hand clasped firmly in his. She no longer feared her father. She had found the strength to protect what she loved. Cale looked at her, his eyes filled with pride. You are a warrior, Lyra, he said. A warrior of the heart. Many years passed. Ilara, now known as Lyra, became a revered healer within the Wolf Clan. She had learned all the ancient remedies from grandmother Lyra, and she had saved countless lives. She and Cale married beneath the moon, witnessed by the entire clan. They built a happy, simple, yet profoundly meaningful life. Lyra no longer longed for silk gowns or lavish parties. She found true richness in love, acceptance, and a deep connection to the natural world. The story of Lyra, the aristocratic woman abandoned by her father, who found a new life in the American West, gradually spread. A journalist from the East, hearing whispers of the tale, sought out the Wolf Clan village to interview Lyra. His article, titled "The Wolf Princess and the Lesson of True Worth," caused a sensation. It not only recounted Lyra's extraordinary journey, but also depicted the Wolf Clan in an authentic and positive light, dismantling many false prejudices about native peoples. Lyra's story helped change perspectives, making many realize that outward appearance and social status could never define the true value of a human being. 20 years later, Lyra and Cale sat together beneath an ancient cottonwood tree, watching their young grandchildren play. Lyra had aged, but her eyes still held the same peaceful, happy glow. Cale, she said, my father casting me aside, which seemed like a cruel punishment, then was truly the greatest gift I ever received. It led me to you, to this clan, to myself. Cale gently squeezed her hand. From the very beginning I saw the potential in you, Lyra, he said. I saw no burden. I saw a brilliant spirit waiting to be set free. And I knew you would be a guiding moonlight for so many others. Lyra's story reminds us that our true worth isn't found in our appearance, social status, or the approval of others. It resides in our inner strength, our kindness, our ability to adapt, and in finding our own purpose. Sometimes what seem like the harshest trials are actually opportunities for us to discover the strongest, most authentic versions of ourselves. Believe in your own value, even when the world tries to deny it. What resonated most with you in Lyra's journey? What emotions did this tale stir within you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories that celebrate the human spirit.